So today, we're taking a peek at this vehicle. Now, before I was looking forward to doing this video. I really was. Most vehicles I get that I have coming in, I typically get excited for some reason or another, but I was looking forward to doing this one. But coming off the recent Lexus RCF Track Edition, which is a powerhouse of a vehicle, coming into a much smaller Toyota Corolla, well, I was looking forward to it just for being more down to earth, maybe is the best way to say it. However, now that I've been driving this thing for the past week, I've been having a blast. Now, I drive a manual vehicle day to day as my daily driver, aside from my Tesla. So I do love manual vehicles. Having 6 speeds, I love them. This one in the GR Corolla is just super fun to drive. So today, we're driving the 2023 GR Corolla. I can't wait to show you guys. So, welcome back to the channel. If you're new, welcome. This is TechGooch, and today we're in the 2023 Toyota GR Corolla, which is a very sporty version of the hatchback Corolla. It only comes in a 6-speed manual, and it is phenomenal to drive. I absolutely have thoroughly enjoyed driving this car. Now, there's a few things to say about this. Now, this has a little 1.6 3-cylinder engine, but it is a turbocharged 3-cylinder. It has a sound coming out the tailpipes that is second to none. It sounds fantastic. If you like that throaty sound, sounds great. It's just a blast to drive. Now, there are a few things that I would change in this vehicle in the interior, but from shifting and actually mechanics of this vehicle, it is spot on. It is lovely. It is just a pleasure to drive. And I love vehicles that are pleasures to drive. 300 horsepower in this little 3-cylinder turbo engine. It's like 273 foot-pounds of torque. It's got way more than enough power to have a little fun with. It also has the GR all-wheel drive system, which you can change how essentially the car delivers power to the front or rear axles. So as stock, you have the front, I guess, focus mode, which puts 60-40. 60% of the power is going to the front, 40 to the rear. You can do a rear wheel or more sport type setting that puts 70 to the rear and 30 to the front. And then you can do the track mode, which is all about traction. It's all about get up, 50-50 split. It's just really easy to do. It's so dumb. It's amazing that more vehicles have not adopted this because it just works really, really well. So what I want to do now is I want to get out of the vehicle. I want to wrap around and show you what the outside of this vehicle is, because not only is this thing a pleasure to drive, it's kind of a beauty in its own mark as well. It looks great. The Toyota Corolla has always been a decent looking vehicle, but as soon as you add in accents like the performance package gets, the painted calipers and things like that. Of course, you have the GR badging. The wheels are really nice on this one. Yes, it's like a sport car. It has large wheels, thin body tires, and the suspension is really stiff. So it doesn't ride the best. If you noticed at the beginning of the video when I was hitting some rough patches, it's a little rough riding. It's not as smooth as some other vehicles, right? But that's not to say anything against it, because it's quite it's a pleasurable vehicle to drive. So let's get out of the vehicle. Let's do a wraparound on the outside like we normally do. We'll go through the interior. I'll show you this. This has kind of Toyota's generalistic interior. I'm not a huge fan of the 8-inch touch panel, but that is what it is. Otherwise, everything else I like. And then there's one big thing that I think is really dumb that they should fix immediately, and I'll show you that as well. So let's step into it. Okay, so as always, we're going to start in the front, obviously. And right away, we have this nice little, right here, GR badge up front. You have the traditional Corolla look, which, to be honest, looks nice, looks good. But if you look from the side back, you get this kind of sporty look looking back on it, just because you kind of see the bottom is wider than the top. Just looks sporty, looks good. Got a nice GR badge here. As you can see, like I was talking about, the painted calipers with the nice rims. It's just a really good looking car. I really do like the looks of this car a lot. Backside, really well sloped. Nice GR badge there, and of course you can hear the hum, the nice low purr of the engine right now, if you can hear that. Maybe I can. I don't know what that was, but there we go. Going around the far side, of course, looks the same just from the other side. Very, very good looking vehicle. So let's get into the interior. Okay, so we're gonna jump in here. Oh, if parked for 1 hour, perform auto off. So it does obviously have an auto off. I'm gonna go ahead and back on that. We're gonna start like we always do. Door controls, if you wanna see what those look like, pretty standard. Standard everything here. Standard for the knee board, access for heated steering wheel, odometer, automatic high beams, light for the variable lighting there, everything there. Pretty simple. We have the new, what I would call the more traditional or standard Toyota steering wheel, but we do have our GR badging on here as well. It just, your standard controls here for volume, track, next, back, all of our stuff for our cruise control and everything like that in here. Everything's pretty standard, nothing too fancy. We do have our controls here on the left-hand side, so we can actually control this such. So right now you can see I'm getting 24.4 miles to the gallon. I can go through gauge check. I can go look at the actual turbo, see how much pressure I'm getting off the turbo. If I can go through each of these. Sorry, I was just not backed up far enough here. So I can go look at settings 2, settings 3. Then here I can actually go through and I can click enter. I can go through the various settings here. It's a 12.3-inch driver information display. So you can, change the settings, things like that, as you see fit. And I can hit back and bring it back to basically how I had it before. But there we are. So that's that. I will say, while we're looking at this, what I was talking about with the GR4 all-wheel drive system. So we have, if I go to the left, like this, left, that's front, to the right, rear, and then push here is track. And it does tell you up here what mode you're in. So track is the last one I hit. I can hit left, there's the 60/40, there's the 30/70, there's back to track. So 60/40 is what I typically been driving around in, but you can change that depending on what you want to do and how much power you want and how you want it to drive, essentially. You want a little more power to the rear, have it slide a little bit more, well, then you just go to the rear mode. You go 30/70. So there's that. And here's one of the things that I wish that they would change. This little 8-inch display just doesn't do it for me. I understand that this is probably more than enough for most people or for a lot of people, but at the same time, everything they have in here with the nice 12.3-inch display here, I wish this was a little bit wider, with less huge black bezels all the way around it. I think it's just kind of a waste, to be honest. So I would like to see something more like a 10 or, a 12-inch screen here would look really good as well. You could just do a wide one and just keep everything down here the same and just put a different display. I think that would look really good. Keep the knob with the volume control. Always appreciate it when you have a knob for that. Climate controls, standard climate controls there. Down here we do have the standard Corolla. Let me see if I can make sure that you see this. So we have our Qi charger back here with a power to turn the Qi charger on or off. And then we have our standard manual heated seats. So this does have the cold climate package. So there's high and low. Obviously, if you accidentally leave this on and like your passenger uses it and you didn't see them use it and they leave it on, it's going to continue to be on until you come and actually flip the switch off. So that's something to say there. We can change our drive mode here, so traction control, but then also drive mode. We do have our normal, eco, sport, and then custom, which you can customize. So I've been driving in normal most of the time or eco. And then this is manual, so we do have our manual stick shift. Now, one of the things that most of the vehicles I've ever driven always have, to be honest, similar shifting pattern, but I never really, this is the first vehicle I've ever actually had to actual drive with the rear wheel release. So to put it in reverse, I can't do it without actually lifting and going all the way over. So that's this is my first vehicle I've ever had that reverse release, I guess is maybe the best way to say it. Sorry if it darkened up there, I apologize. Do have a single USB-C port down here. We do have a standard glove box, which I think is always needed. But the big thing that's missing is back here. So no center console at all. Now I understand we have the emergency brake and stuff right here, but I have to, I don't put this stuff in the glove box, but not only is there no center console, there's no armrest. Now, this is stupid. I'm sorry. This whole area here, yeah, we have a USB-C charger and a 12-volt that can be accessed from the front or the back seat, but there's no armrest here, so it's just not as comfortable to drive this because there's no armrest. I'm not kidding. Every single person that sat in this passenger seat has made the answer or a question of why did they not put an armrest in here. And I've never been in a vehicle that didn't at least have an armrest for the driver, if not a larger center console type that either the driver or the passenger can do. So I think that's their biggest problem with this vehicle, is the lack of armrest, which is just terrible. My daughter's $17,000 Chevy Spark, when it was new, has an armrest. I don't get it. But I'll digress, and I will show you the upper stuff here. Okay, time to go into the back seat. Now, I do have the front seat as far back as I would like. It's not all the way back. I think I can go back a little bit further, but I am 5'11", and I do have plenty of room on the legs, so I would say this is a decent for a small car. Yes, we do have the window here, right, I can do. I do have that USB-C port and 12-volt port I showed you before in the middle, but aside from that, there's nothing else fancy in here. Everything else is standard. However, if you don't have 3 people back here, only 2, at least they get an armrest with a couple cup holders. Nothing fancy. It is what it is. Pretty simple back seat. I will mention that there is a cup holder in each door as well. Okay, let's open up the back hatch. So for storage wise, nothing terrible. We are going to do the luggage test in here as well. Underneath, if you want to see this, we do have some pockets for extra storage or maybe some safety stuff that you want to throw in here, but that's it. There's the battery back there. So nothing fancy, nothing too crazy. There we are. All right, I almost forgot about the engine. Now we actually do have a battery hookup up here, but obviously the battery's in the trunk or under the trunk, under the backside. But there's what the 3-cylinder turbocharged engine looks like. And of course, no gas shocks on this hood, so got to hold it up or use the dipstick or the stick. All right, let's do our luggage test. I don't think that's gonna work. So let's go this way. I am not feeling confident about this one. Maybe in the center. If I did that. Okay, 3 for sure. I don't see I'm gonna get a 4th one in here. Maybe if I don't put it all the way to the edge. No, that's maybe like that, but again, yeah, that'll work. All right, so what we're talking is 3 carry-ons plus some smaller bags on each side. 4 carry-ons is not gonna work. Okay, so I wanted to set up the camera and do an ignition start so you hear what it sounds like, so you get an idea. So all in all, this vehicle has just been, to be honest, just like I said, a blast to drive. It handles really well. Yeah, it rides a little rougher, but to be honest, no rougher than any other vehicle of this type of caliber with that sporty traction and sporty suspension. It's not bad, but it is something that has noticed not just to me, but also to my passengers. It does ride a little rough. So long distance wise, it might be a little rough riding. However, that said, it's just been fun to drive. I've actually been asked by a couple of my friends after I posted pictures of this vehicle. So I bet, or I shouldn't say questions, but I've been commented. I bet that's been more fun to drive than the Lexus RCF that I had for a week. And to that I said, while the RCF was definitely more powerful, I have had more fun with this. So before we go, I'm going to throw it into track mode to get a little more traction and see what it sounds like going a little faster, right? Not that I'm going crazy with it or anything, but it's just fun to drive it. It's just fun to drive. So that has been the 2023 Toyota GR Corolla. I like this car. Now, like I said, the things that I would change, I would put in a different entertainment display. This is a $40,000 car as it sits right here with all the packages and everything that it has on it. At $40,000, I would expect a bigger display than 8 inches, and I would expect a armrest. Toyota, you change those two things, you've got a vehicle that I'm definitely be interested in. I like it. I like it a lot. It's fun to drive. 24.4 miles to the gallon. Nothing crazy. Nothing, for as sporty as it is how much, to be honest, as much power as it actually has for its power to weight rating. It kind of sits where I expect, I guess. So that is what the GR Corolla does. That's my take on this, and I hope you enjoyed my video. Questions, comments, let them know below. Like, comment, subscribe, and we'll catch you back here on techgooch for another future video review video on any of these products or vehicles. So thanks for watching. We'll see you soon.